Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking, right side. He wants it. A comeback. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown, Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions. How about those Chiefs?
Welcome to another episode of the Kingdom Corner here with Andrew and Dale. Man, a tough loss coming off that first game of the season against the Lions. We're here not even 24 hours later, but Dale, feeling any different about that game now?
Oh, yeah. I woke up this morning. The air didn't smell so great. The food isn't tasting the same. I mean, life is just, voice kind of hurts from last night. We had the great opportunity to be in there in person. Seeing the banner drop, seeing the alien spaceship fly over the Arrowhead Stadium. And then, just not the same Kansas City Chiefs we're used to watching.
Very true.
That was probably the biggest takeaway. Not the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think there was a lot of great things that were done well to take away from. But, just not the same. Didn't have the same feel when the game started.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
And so, but it was a great atmosphere there to be a part of. Man, great thing to be there in person to witness that banner drop. The crowd was electric.
Man,
I mean, they were on it.
And, I think I leaned over to you at one point and said, I think it feels like a playoff game. The noise-wise.
Yeah. It was really close to it, no doubt. And then the anthem came, crowds roaring so loud even before we got to the home of the Chiefs that no one knew when it was. I think they all just shouted at some point because, we don't know. Here it is. Close enough.
There it is, yeah.
They were on it, though. And so Chiefs come
and
out.
The great Natalie Grant. The great Natalie Grant was there singing the national anthem for us. So shout out Natalie Grant.
That's right. The two pastors there knew who she was. I'm not sure if anybody else did, but we did. So
there you go.
Yeah, so the Chiefs jump into this. They start the game forcing a 3-and-out without Chris Jones. I mean, as a defense, you can't hope to start any better than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we really should have had back-to-back 3-and-outs, but our special teams let us down on that fake punt, and they converted and ended up going down for a touchdown. So let's just go ahead and start the defense. How did you feel the defense was overall?
Man, overall, I think the defense played great. We look back at it. I mean, I know the point is to win the game. Yeah. But for the defense, giving up 14 points, I mean, I think if you were to told Andy Reid, Stags were to go into his office and say, hey, we're going to give up 14. I think Andy Reid's like, all right, we got this one in the bag. Let's just go ahead and win it. So I think 14 points is really great standing, but definitely some things they could fix. I think the middle was super weak.
Yeah.
And I think the guys that filled in did a great job. Don't want to take anything from them, but I mean, it just felt like that's where they attacked the Detroit. And Detroit has last year they had the fourth best offensive line, and so even then, I still thought that's why I was like, wow, that may be the best offensive line we see all year.
Yeah. And
I think we did a pretty good job of getting pressure. I think they got pressure quite a bit, batted balls, even without Chris Jones. So. Pretty good, but I think my revelation this morning or this afternoon was this could be the best defense Mahomes has if Chris Jones was there.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're the number 2 defense in the league, right?
Hey, there you go. All right, I like it.
Look at it that way, but man, I don't know if I'd go that far. Say, tell
me what defense was better. I mean, like just from that small sample size, right? But I feel like, I
don't necessarily disagree with you, especially if Chris Jones is there, because that defense played lights out. You couldn't have asked them to play any better. I mean, yes, they had a few of their moments, all of them did, but overall as a unit. You could almost argue that they only gave up 7 points because their second touchdown for Detroit was given because special teams allowed them to convert a 4th down.
Right.
So yes, I know they then drove the field on the defense. I understand that, but you could make an argument that they could have held them to 7 points. But either way, still holding them to 14 points should have been enough to win the game. We both, even in our score predictions, had them scoring 24 points. So we both even overshot the amount of points that the Lions score, thinking, if we hold them to even 24 points, we're going to win this game.
Right.
And so then it comes down to the offense, and that's where there's a lot of talk and controversy and mixed feelings this morning about the offensive side of this year.
Yes.
Man, the big thing coming out of this game, drops by the wide receivers.
Yep. Too many.
Yeah.
Too many.
I heard on the radio, right after the game, that it's tied for the most drops in a game in the Patrick Mahomes era. So it's the most drops by wide receivers, tied for it, that he's ever had.
What was the other game? The Super Bowl?
Probably.
Against Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They didn't say on the radio which game it was.
Yeah.
It would make sense because
there was a ton of drops in there, and that was it just looked sloppy. I think it felt cocky to me. Just like, oh, we're Super Bowl champs. A lot of those kids, Sky Moore, Tony, they got the Super Bowl rings. They're kind of thinking, hey, we're on the king of the world. We're untouchable. We're the greatest, which is true. You are the greatest because you are defending Super Bowl champs. But just as Pat kind of talks about the fact that, like, hey, it's a new year. That was last year. We're trying to win another Super Bowl, like celebrate in the off season. When we start training camp, it's a new season. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far to say that they were too cocky. I think they're just too young. I think they have too little experience on the big stage. I mean, yes, some of them, like Sky Moore and Tony, played in the Super Bowl and even had touchdowns, but man, having 1 year of experience. I know Tony's been in the league a little bit longer, but basically no experience with all of his injuries. When you're in the league that short of time, I think it's more so inexperience than anything else. And so the thing is, a lot of them weren't even getting open to get the ball thrown to them. The offensive line, as far as pass protection went, played lights out. Mahomes had all sorts of time to throw it, and couldn't find anybody open even with that much time.
Right.
So that's
I think we both know that Mahomes is like a Houdini, and so he does create more time. I think he always makes the offensive line look better than it really is.
Well, there's many times he's staying there right in the pocket, though, for 4 seconds.
Oh,
in the NFL.
And then I think they were letting old Cuzzy on the right tackle get a little bit of a jump, is what I heard. I haven't watched the film yet, but I heard on the radio, a lot of people are upset, or on the radio, maybe it was TV, was saying a lot of people are upset that they were letting that guy line up in the backfield all night. So,
well, that's what they say. I think every game there's people that argue some of those things, but the other side is, if they really saw something, those Lions coaches, you don't think they're going to tell that line judge, watch, this guy's jumping.
Right.
So,
well, they did.
And he got called for it once, right?
Yeah.
But if it was happening that often, and I'm not saying there is or isn't something there, but if it's as egregious as everybody's saying it is, it would have been stopped much earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and the other side is you have to play the game that's in front of you. Sometimes you're going to get wrong, sometimes you're not. So, just how it goes. So, the thing is, the only person that was even somewhat getting open was Tony, right? He was making some wide separation marks.
Man.
Didn't haul it in and catch it when he got there, but no one else was shedding defenders. I mean, Mahomes does all this time and ends up scrambling because nobody is open. And I think that's more so on our guys than on the defense. Taking nothing away from the Lions, they won.
Oh,
so
yeah.
All credit to them, but man, with Travis Kelce not in there, you got to find somebody who's going to make a play, somebody who's going to get open, and those wide receivers and tight ends and everybody, no one was doing it.
No, and I always think, like, just the fact that you would think the next man up would be like a mentality for some of these guys would be like, hey, I want to play big tonight. And then, like, it just seemed like no one could fill those shoes.
Yep.
And so it just like, hey, I'm gonna do everything I can. And I don't know if it's just like this. I mean, you got to think this wide receiving core, the longest they've been with anybody was 2 years.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, Mahomes been his whole career. I mean, Travis Kelce hasn't missed a game besides rest before the playoffs since Mahomes has entered the league.
Yeah.
And so every game Mahomes has played, I mean, Travis Kelce's played more games than Mahomes, right? And the fact that Mahomes has been hurt a couple weeks here and there. And so, yeah, I think it's like.
Well, and Kelce plays with Alex Smith, too.
Yeah, sure.
And MVS had a lot of years with Green Bay, too.
Yeah. But I'm just saying with Mahomes.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. A lot of these guys, even the ones who finally did get open, they did the hard part of getting open. And they couldn't do the easy part of catching the ball when it got to them.
Yeah.
I mean, the balls that Mahomes was throwing, I'm not saying he was on every pass, but he did everything he needed to do to win that game.
Well, I know we're going to talk about maybe this. Oh, go ahead.
I would say, I mean, those drops in the fourth quarter there on that final drive hit the guys right in their hands. Even the tip pass that ended for a pick six hit them right in their hands. Sky Moore, yes, it's a hard catch. You got to jump up and catch it. No one tipped it on that final offensive play for the Chiefs. Hit his hands again. Can it catch it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can point the fingers in a lot of different directions.
Right.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about, but do you think Pat's arm angle is like difficult to pick up because he's dropping it to the side or like throwing
as a receiver?
As a receiver, like picking the ball up, you know what I'm saying? No. You're not even a question.
Most of those guys are catching the ball and picking the ball up when it's in the air. They're not watching it come out of his hand anyways.
Yeah.
If you're watching it come out of your hand, you're staring down the quarterback too much. They teach those guys to run routes, turn, and find the ball coming in the air at them.
Right.
If you're watching the quarterback, you're not running your route very well.
Yeah.
You got to focus on your guy and shedding him before you even look for the ball. And then when you do, you're supposed to find it coming in the air and track it that way, which is why they say playing a receiver in the NFL is so difficult, because you have to track it in the air and you don't see it released most of the time.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, it just seemed when I watched the replay, and that's the only thing that really popped in my mind when I watched the replay of Blake Bell's touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a guy in front of Mahomes, and Mahomes threw it around him like the Matrix. And then it hit Blake Bell right in the hands, but the face Blake Bell had on his face looked like he was so shocked. And we kind of talked about it at the game where he looked shocked he didn't get hit. I think he was shocked the ball was right there. All of a sudden it was there. I think it just comes out of nowhere for some of these young guys that man, it's just there.
Well, they might, but if they think that, then they have a lot more improvement to do than we even realize. I'm telling you right now,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
If that's the shock on them, they're not going to be ready for any NFL team, let alone the Chiefs. I mean, yes,
you get a robot back there like Joe Burrow.
Neither of us play in the league. I'll give them that, right? And so I'm giving them all the credit for that. But if you're telling me they can't figure out how to track a ball, they can't figure out how to do that in the NFL. They're not even on NFL level yet. They should still be in training camp.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? You're used to it coming over a line.
I understand.
And then all of a sudden it's coming blow someone's kneecaps, and it's boom, there it is.
Hey, I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is you got to track the ball wherever it's coming from.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. I mean, there's quarterbacks all over the league that on those short passes, they throw it differently. So you got to be able to track that ball. I don't want to hear those excuses.
They're not excuses. I'm just curious.
No, those
curious.
Are
you remember when Jamar Chase came in the league and they didn't think he could catch because I was just also thinking about this where the fact that the college ball, right? A lot of these guys are just out of college, 2 years maybe. The college ball has that white stripe. And so you can track it better. And so now this is just a brown blob at night. I get it. Not making excuses. I'm saying they should have caught those because
all these stadiums have lights, Dale. At night makes no difference. All these stadiums have lights. These stadiums have such bright lights. It might as well be daytime.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
I just saying, hey.
I know what you're saying. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. That's.
It helps me. It helps me better to think. Maybe, hey man, there's a little learning curve. We're gonna get it figured out. We're gonna get this learning curve figured out.
We're gonna there's a learning curve, but come on. Oh, come on.
All right. What else you got?
All right. How about this? How do we, or is there a way to even minimize these drops though? Or is it just
run the ball.
Or is, no. I
run
think
the ball.
Last night, our leading rusher was Patrick Mahomes. He had more yards than Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde combined. So
that does not surprise me. They were
running the ball side is not our strength at all.
All right, no.
And I'm not saying our offensive line is bad. They're great pass blockers, but running the ball, and especially when you need just a couple yards, for the most part, that is not their strength.
Right.
I love our offensive line. It's good, but that's just not their strength. Their strength is pass blocking or blocking downfield, not blocking right at the line. It's just
yeah.
I think it's just gonna take a lot of practice and a lot of
I think it's more. I think it's more reps.
Lot of drills.
Yeah, more reps with Mahomes. More reps. I don't think he's lost trust yet.
No,
I think
especially in Tony. You remember he is injured most of the training camp and preseason, so he's still trying to get back to form with all that.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, we even talk about the game. Everybody's talking about how Sky Moore is going to be this great receiver this year, going to take a step up.
Hey, the surprise, man! Better draft him second round in your fantasy. If you didn't, you're the loser.
Hey, hey, I'm in a league that somebody did. So,
well, I would not be surprised that guy won your league.
I'm sure. I'm sure that's what it was. Yeah, but Sky Moore, here, I'll tell you.
Listen, yeah. There's a mental thing there. I'm not trying. I love the guy. I'm glad we got him. I'm glad he's a Kansas City Chief. But I think there's something mental, 8 inches up there with the fact that he struggles sometimes. I mean, last year was punts. This year it's drops right now. But I mean, again, first game, 16 more games. Here we go. Right?
Yeah. I don't disagree with you at all. But the other side is everybody's trying to crown him as the next Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying they were saying he was going to be that good, but they were just trying to say how much greater he was going to be and all these big steps. And I just kept saying, let's wait to see what he actually does.
Right.
Let's not just jump to conclusions, say, oh yeah, he's going to be some great player. But he was on the field for as much as any other wide receiver and yet had 0 catches. So that's a big deal when you're talking about a guy who's supposed to be making a step forward and can't make those things, can't make those catches, and especially can't make the catches when it counts, like on that final drive. So there's a lot still to be said about him and some of the improvements he needs to make. So, but here's the other thing I want to get into too is our short yardage stuff, right? And so on second or third down when we only had 1 or 2 yards to go, we had there was 9 opportunities for those with second or third down with only 1 or 2 yards. 3 of those went for first downs. One was a lob pass when Mahomes scrambled and lobbed it to McKinnon for 10 yards. Another one, Pacheco ran for 3 yards to get the first down. And the other one was when Rashee Rice caught that touchdown pass, from the 1 yard line. So, but other than that, you want to take a wild guess how many net yards we had on the other 6 plays on second and third down with 1 or 2 yards to go?
Let's see. Negative.
You're going in the right direction.
-8.
-3. So most.
I was gonna say 4. Yeah.
I don't know that many others even went for a positive game, but most of them were incompletions and such. But -3 yards on 6 plays when you're that close. I mean, that is the frustrating part about this Chiefs team, even beyond this year, is the short yardage play calls and execution. They have struggled with that mightily, including that 4th down that they went for when they had Blake Bell come back there and, give it to Rashee Rice, who got blown up in the backfield.
Right. Hey, he had a pretty good game, Rashee Rice.
He did. I'll give him credit. He did much better than I was even expecting. So
touchdown,
I was not high on him
run,
with all those drops in the preseason, but he did good. But what? Here's the question: should the Chiefs use Patrick Mahomes more in the short yardage instead of Blake Bell and such?
I think with that knee, you want to protect that knee. I think they got scared.
They absolutely got scared.
Yeah.
But I think if you're not going to use Patrick Mahomes, go ahead and put him on the sideline, because flinging him out or whatever, maybe they have some way somewhere they're going to do. But as of right now, he's just a wasted player. And I hate saying that about Mahomes, but he's not being a part of the play. He's just supposed to be a distraction, and no one is believing that he's going to be doing anything.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to use him in those short yards and use Blake Bell, just put him on the sideline, bring another big body into block or something. I mean, you got to do something. It is frustrating, those short yarders, that they can't figure something out.
Oh, yeah. But that's always kind of been their little like, it's like you think you would run, but when they try to run, I don't even think that QB sneak with Blake Bell really works. I think everyone's like, it's so obvious that you're going to do it. So,
and the other side we got to talk about too is they always come up there and they usually quick snap it pretty quick when he gets under.
Yeah.
Well, he came up there, did the hard count, the nose tackle for
the Lions.
There you go. Went blank for a second. Nose tackle for the Lions jumped over. They got him, but nobody moved, and he went back.
Yeah.
Would have been a first down. All you got to do is reach out and touch him, move, get up.
Oh, yeah.
You got him right where you wanted to, right? That's what you're trying to do with the hard count.
Encroachment, right, yeah.
Exactly. You're going to get the first down by penalty if all you do is put your arm out to touch him or stand up. Do a flinch, anything, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to stand up in the NFL as an offensive line. You just have to flinch your arm and it counts.
Yeah.
And so, man, they had something there and they missed that too. So it's just a lot of execution errors more than anything.
Right.
And so, but then the other side is the field goals there in the second half, right?
There we go.
Fourth and 2 on both of them. One was from the 17-yard line, and one was on the 21-yard line. So both I know one is right outside the red zone, but they're basically both red zone plays. 4th and 2, they end up kicking field goals to go up by 6, and as we know, the Chiefs end up losing 21-20. But I know hindsight is everything. But what do you do in those situations? Are you okay with kicking the field goals, or would you go?
Well, I mean, we were in the stadium there, and what I tell you on the second one, the first one I'm fine with, like, get points. I just don't think threes at that point was like going to do much. And I understand that they score at the end of the game. You just go kick a field goal. But again, I think it's for me, I think it's feel the game. Like for Andy Reid, like it's feeling the game. Like, okay, how are we doing? How is our defense doing? And so I think for Andy Reid, he was like, yeah, let's get to 6. I think our defense is playing pretty good. They're holding them up. They're slowing them down in the red zone. But, maybe we can hold them to 3. But, Dan Campbell, I mean, kudos to him being aggressive, getting the run game, getting the boys ready. And he did it. I mean, but, yeah, I always like hindsight's 20/20 in the sense that, like, yeah, we could have probably went for it. And maybe we would have got it. Maybe we wouldn't have. Maybe we would have run some more time off the clock. Who knows? But I think I felt comfortable this situation with them kicking field goals because, again, I felt like our defense was playing pretty well. And what else, that hopefully we could have stopped them and they would have had to kick a field goal. But no, they went ahead and scored.
Yeah. So you're more so in the camp of going for it on 4th down, especially on the second.
Yeah. One. Well, even on the second one, I know I give you a hard time, and I know we talk about we should have went for it, and I do believe that a lot of time, but I also feel that it's the feel of the game, so the momentum and what's happening. Are the boys moving the ball? Is Pat and the boys moving the ball up and down the field? They weren't. I mean, that's the It wasn't coming easy. It was very difficult to move the ball. Yeah. Besides that one drive where they moved down 70 yards in 2 plays. Yeah. But other than that, it was a lot of effort. And so I think Andy Reid, which rightfully so, was like, okay, we need points. And maybe if they do score a touchdown, we can still beat them with a field goal at the end. And we have one of the best kickers in the game, probably second best kicker in the game with Harrison Buckner. So we trust him and everything like that. So, yeah, I don't think it was a big deal. But, yeah, I think looking back on the momentum, because I was upset when we kicked the second one. I was like, we should have went for it. But looking back, just the momentum, we weren't moving the ball easily. And so,
I'm still in the camp of, you kick those field goals because it goes back to what we just talked about a second ago. The Chiefs are not good in short yardage situations. They're just not.
Right.
If it was, I'd be more likely to go for it on 4th and 7 than 4th and 2. because
how about we run
how about we run it?
How about we run a 4th and 7 play instead of a 4th and 2 play?
Yeah, exactly. Because hey, we should, because the Chiefs cannot run the football. As we pointed out earlier, Mahomes is a leading rusher, and he outscored both Pacheco and Clyde if their yards were combined. And so that should not be our formula for winning, is Mahomes being the lead rusher.
No.
So we got to do something there. And so, yeah, that's why we're so bad on those short downs, because people play the run thinking, because that's usually a run situation for any team. But we're just not good enough to block it or run it. And so, I'm still in the camp of kicking the field goal. Plus, if our receivers would be able to catch the ball and not drop it, it would have worked out.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was crazy. Andy Reid at the end was the 4th and 20. False start, 4th and 25. And he's like, no, we're going to go for it. 2 minutes and 9 seconds left on the clock. And crazy. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised, but he hits a guy not wide open, but open, and hits him in the hands and goes right through the hands. 4th and 25. Probably it was a 27-yard throw, a laser, and would have got enough for the first down, continue the drive. Probably would be talking about a win instead of a loss today.
Yeah. Well, here's the other side too to keep in mind. If these wide receivers catch the ball and don't drop them, I think we're winning by double digits.
Yeah.
Because there are several that Tony could have caught, and if he would have caught, was so wide open with his speed, he probably would have gotten in the end zone.
Oh yeah.
And so we would be talking about double-digit wins. Like, yep, Chiefs are back. Instead, with the drops, we're like questioning a lot of things now. Yeah. And so that's just how it is. And so to wrap all this up, so we both said the defense played well. So what kind of grade would you give them?
Yeah, I definitely. I give them. I think a B+. B+, just because of the middle. The middle felt weak to me. It felt like the Lions. That's where they attacked. I mean, they knew where our weakness was.
Yeah,
was the middle of the field, and
Yeah, I still think they played outstanding and much better than I think most people ever thought that they would without Chris Jones. But I'm like you. I'm not quite there to give them an A yet. They'd have to make a stop on that final drive to get an A, right?
Yeah.
So, but still, overall, not taking anything away from them. They all played the lights out and played their tails off. So.
Oh yeah.
Well,
you got a grade? You got a grade for me?
Yeah. If I'm gonna give them a grade, I'd probably say B-.
Ooh, B-.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey, I still think A's and B's are great.
I don't think I'm showing my parents. I'm not excited to show my parents with a B-.
You know what? If I would have got a B, I would be given a high five by my father. So, like, this is how it was growing up. Like, I come home, I get some C's, maybe an A in PE, right? Things like that. Maybe a B in math. But I mean, maybe, and then getting a lot of C's, and my dad's like, "Man, you did good, Andrew. You did good."
There you go.
My sisters come home, they get 1 or 2 C's, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you not doing better?"
You on drugs? You on drugs? Let me see those eyes.
That's how they'd be questioning my sisters and that. So, quick story. All my sisters were in like the honor society, and a few years back, we were just talking, about high school and such, and one of my sisters goes, "Oh yeah, Andrew, you remember the honor society?" It's like, "No, I wasn't part of that." I said, "I wasn't invited." She's like, "You didn't have to be invited, Andrew. You just had to have the right grades." I said, "Like I said, I wasn't invited." Right? So a B is good. So a B is good. So even a B-, I'm counting that as good. A's and B's are good. You get C as average of the pack, right? That's what it is. So B- I still think is good. So
all right.
Here's the follow-up question to that though.
Yeah.
Does this game make you think that we should now pay Chris Jones what he's asking for?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you're all in.
I'm still all in.
Even if now he goes in and says, "You know what? I saw what you did. You lost. Now I need more." Like,
I do think
he's looking for $32 million a year right now, allegedly, and the Chiefs are offering $27.5 a year.
Pay him.
What if he comes and says, "Well, now I need $34 a year"?
Well, and that's what I was going to say is Bosa over there in 49ers really put us in a bad spot, because it's being reported that he's getting $34 million a year. Now I know it's two different positions, but I mean they're like. And he is the defensive player of the year, Bosa. Yeah. And Chris Jones was runner-up. So I think you can make an argument. But I think you need to get the deal done. We saw how – as we both agreed that the middle of the field was weak. I think with him in there, it's going to be a little better. It may not be, because I mean, the best number 4 offensive line of the year last year. I mean, who knows what they'll be graded this year. So, I mean, they definitely did their job. But I think Chris Jones is a difference maker, enough of a difference maker. I think there's the 3-headed monster, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Jones. You keep those 3 guys. I think that's your nucleus. That's your leader on the field. I know a lot of people are upset, like, hey, let him walk. I think he's a little out of touch with the reality about I'm like at a job like anybody else, asking for a raise. And if you don't give it to me, you can't just not show up to work. I mean,
right. You don't show up to work in the everyday average American life, you're losing your job. You're not
right. But I think like the elite in the sense of if you're the best lawyer in the world or the second best lawyer in America, like I think you could do that, right?
Yeah, but if you're the best lawyer in the world, you own your own firm, so you set your own prices.
I know it's a bad. I mean, the example falls apart, but you know what I'm saying? Like it works. Where like, hey, I am my record, who I am. You know who I am. I mean, if you were I mean, I just think it's one of those things where like I need a raise and you're not giving me a raise, but I just think, man, if we want to win, but I do think
no, I'll tell you this. You're wrong.
Okay. So, all right. That's fine. That's fine.
No, you don't just give in to the demands just because somebody's throwing a fit about it.
Well, I'm not saying it's just not somebody.
Well,
he's not a good player. He's not a good player. He's a great player.
Yes,
so I'm not saying like we just started.
No, he is a great player, but you don't just throw all your money away to one guy just because that's what he's demanding. Because
why do we give $500 million to Mahomes? Why do we give $500 million?
Because Mahomes is the best player who's ever touched a football.
And Chris Jones is not the best defensive player right now.
Chris Jones is great. He's all pro, but he's not the best player to ever touch the football.
Okay, I know.
Even on the defensive side, he's not the greatest player to ever touch a football. And so Chris Jones, I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be paid. But you don't harm your team and hurt your team for the future to pay a guy now. Because I know you can work contracts around and manipulate them in different ways, but you still have to pay a guy, and it's still going to hit your cap in some way.
That's fine.
No matter what you do. And so
that's fine. You saw it last night.
Hey, no, listen, Brett Veach, right?
Yeah.
2 Super Bowls in 4 years. He knows how to build a roster. Do you want to continue that trend, or are you okay with just going all in like the Rams did and then not being able to make it back again because you can't afford other guys?
Yeah, I think, I mean, like, I think that, don't you think like the next 2 years, like this year and then 2 more years after, you think Chris Jones is elite?
I think he's got a couple of good years left.
Okay, so he's off the books, right? He's off the books in 3 years. And so then you don't re-sign him. You let him walk. But while he's in his prime, let's take advantage of him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying he shouldn't be paid. I'm not saying the Chiefs should say, okay, we'll offer you 28 now instead of 27 and a half. But,
all right.
But I'm not saying give in to his demands of $32 million. But quick side note here, too. I know that part of his contract that I just found out about is in these contracts, if you're not there on the field dressed up playing by, I believe it's week 8, maybe week 9, whatever it was that Chris Jones kind of tweeted out that hinted that it might be, then
week 8,
then that doesn't count as a season on your contract, and your contract goes to the next year, which is why Chris Jones will play this year.
Yeah, he will play.
Yeah. But the other side is I don't think he's going to come in playing at 100% no matter what he says.
No.
Because even if you're training, even if you're in shape, even if you're hitting, dummies or whatever, it is not the same as being in the trenches and hitting guys.
And I think we talked about that too last night, was the fact that like them not playing a lot in the preseason or not doing these joint, like I don't know why the Chiefs don't do joint practices, but them not doing joint practices and stuff like that where they are hitting people a little more and there's a little more competition. I think it takes a while for them to ramp up. And so I'll be interested to see. But before we go.
Well, even if you get with other teams, though, you still can't tackle people. So
right. But I just think like you get more reps, controlled reps, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're the agent of Travis Kelce, do you call Brett Veach last night or send a nice little text?
I don't think you do it in the moment because all the emotions are high. If I was Brett Veach and I got a text right there, I'm a Christian man, so I would, I would control my response. but my initial response would not be a good one.
Okay, you're Travis Kelce out next day, 2 days. Hey, maybe Sunday. What do we think about Travis, man? I mean,
about Travis or Chris here?
No, I'm talking about Travis Kelce. If you're Travis Kelce's agent,
do
you send a text message to Bree Beach and be like,
"No,
yes, you do.
You do not.
I'm saying
you want to harm him for his even another contract extension after this." Now,
I'm just saying. Look at the value of Travis Kelce on the field.
I mean, at the end of this contract, I think he's got 2 or 3 years left on it after his extension, so he might retire. But even so, you don't want to sacrifice his body and all that just simply because of ego and wanting to be on the field. You want him to be there for the long term.
No. I'm talking about. Hey, I think Travis needs a pay raise.
Oh. Well,
send him a little text and say, "Hey, I think we need to talk. Maybe we need to redo this deal because Travis Kelce looks pretty
Travis
important."
Kelce doesn't want a pay raise.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying you're his agent. Take your fan hat off.
Okay, I'm his agent. You know what you also do? You also got to check with the player. You don't go to a team and say my guy wants this without talking to him, and then the team goes and says, "Whoa, what's this all about?" And you're like, "My agent said what now?"
Yeah.
You don't do that without talking to your guy.
He is grossly underpaid.
No, I admit it. I agree. He is, but he willingly takes that because he gives them that kind of contract, just like Mahomes is not pushing to be the highest paid. The same reason.
I love getting you fired up.
Because those two guys, I know. Those two guys are about championships. They're not about money, and they've made that very clear. They've made that clear. And so Chris Jones is not that way. He's more in the Tyreek Hill camp. I got my rings. Now I want my money. So I'm not paying Chris Jones. I'm not saying,
man, I can't believe you.
From him.
I thought you loved the Chiefs. I thought you loved the Chiefs.
Hey, I love the Chiefs.
I thought you want to win Super Bowls.
Hey,
you want to win Super Bowls? Pay Chris Jones.
Hey, that's exactly why I don't want to pay Chris Jones. So
pay him.
No, so we can have a team that'll be competitive for years to come and not just for 1 or 2 years.
It's not going to be 1 or 2 years. It's not like a 6-year deal. It's a 3-year deal.
That's what the Rams thought too when they paid all their guys, and look what happened to them.
They thought
it was. No, listen, the Rams thought they were getting a team for more than 1 year, too. And after that 1 year, many of their guys were not performing the way they were before.
Salary cap's going to go up next year. Come on.
Okay.
All right.
Well, here's final quick question for you.
All right.
Realistic expectations moving forward for the Chiefs.
Yeah, 16-0. 16-1, I mean.
16-0, okay.
Hey, 16-1.
The main thing I want to make sure we're clear on, the sky is not falling.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
we are still good. Yes, they're going to struggle with these new and young wide receivers for a while, but they're going to figure it out.
Oh,
They will. We have a great coaching staff, and Andy Reid and the other guys, too. Defensive backs, our pass defense is incredible. So even though we got young guys, they're going to figure it out. The sky's not falling. The Chiefs will still make the playoffs. You can count on it. Write it down. They're going to make the playoffs. So it's going to be good. Breathe in. I know it's rough the first game of the season when you're on national TV, but hey, you know why we played that game? Because the last game we played, we won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
So don't lose sight. Don't lose hope. Things are good.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We're so glad you joined us.
Yes.
Man, we'll see you next time as we preview the upcoming game against the Jaguars. We'll see you then.